Evening everyone, it's Boxing Gossip coming live from Glasgow, and although the wallpaper here looks suspiciously like the wallpaper from the Boxing Gossip mansion, is actually from a hotel. I would warn before I get started in this video that I've just been on a night out. I had 6 pints and I've been on the Scots as well, so apologies if the content of this video is slightly inferior to my normal standard, and I'm slightly less lucid than you're used to. Anyway, let's crack into it. A few different things I wanted to talk about. Before I went out on the beers, I was able to watch the Chris Eubank Jr. versus Spike O'Sullivan press conference. Let me say, I was disappointed here in Spike O'Sullivan. It was a very, very poor performance in the press conference. And to me, you've got to be careful how much you read into these things. At the end of the day, it's easy to talk a good game at a press conference and look terrible on fight night. Just look at Kevin Johnson. You know, anyone who's seen a Kevin Johnson press conference, easy to buy into the fact that he's the second coming of Muhammad Ali, but he never quite performs on the night. So I don't want to fully read into press conferences, but Spike O'Sullivan was poor beyond belief at this press conference. And his trainer, Pascal Collins, had to step up and save him on several occasions because his chat was poor. And I kind of expected that Spike O'Sullivan would be putting it on Eubank here, and Spike O'Sullivan would be running rings around Eubank. And in many ways, I thought Spike O'Sullivan would kind of do a Tyson Fury here on a Vladimir Klitschko and Chris Eubank Jr. I thought Chris Eubank Jr. would be the professional, polite, gentlemanly fighter, whereas Spike O'Sullivan would be the kind of beast putting it on Eubank. But yeah, Spike was really, really subdued, really quiet, and Eubank called him out badly and was saying how he was a Twitter terrorist and he didn't back it up and talk properly in person. You know what, I kind of have to agree with Eubank Jr. and possible to read into the fact that there's some nervousness here from Spike, which is concerning ahead of this fight. Spike was even saying there's nothing personal. He was just trying to talk his way into the fight to get a big payday. Let me say, that's not good signs for Spike. He's looking at this fight purely as a payday. And if he was saying that all of the chat was just trying to talk himself into this position, doesn't exactly bode confidence. The other thing I'd say is Spike's typically a big middleweight. I remember when he fought Anthony Fitzgerald, it was at a catchweight, and Spike came in really, really big for that fight, really big. I remember when Spike fought Billy Joe, and again he looked pretty big that night. But whilst I think of Spike as a big middleweight, Eubank Jr. is really, really big. You know, Eubank was noticeably taller than Spike, much more rangy, scopy individual than Spike, and I thought that was potentially relevant ahead of the fight as well. I mean, let's not forget, this is Spike's biggest fight by some way. I know he fought Billy Joe Saunders, who proved he was a better fighter than Eubank at this stage, but that Spike Billy Joe fight wasn't exactly a massive occasion. It wasn't exactly a media fanfare, that fight. And in terms of the attention, this is certainly the biggest fight of Spike's career. Afterwards, if you watched the IFL TV video, you saw Eubank Jr. calling out Frank Buglioni. That seemed like an odd move to me. Obviously, Buglioni's a Frank Warren fighter. Buglioni's a super middleweight, and you know, in that interview, Buglioni looked like he'd been on the he'd be on the steak and ale pies. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I don't see that fight happening. It seems strange and almost uncharacteristic of Chris Eubank Jr. to call out Buglioni. But yeah, having seen this press conference, I'm worried that the occasion's getting to Spike. I'm worried that Eubank is too big. And I'm worried that Spike is actually nervous ahead of this fight, which is not something I anticipated. Sticking with matchroom, you know, there's a lot of talk. We've had a lot of talk. I've talked on this channel about Froch versus Gennady Golovkin. The more recent chat is that Froch is considering a comeback versus James Degale. And if Degale was to look particularly good against Lucien Bute, Froch would, you know, be extra keen to come back and to have that fight. I find that hard to believe, really. You know, Froch seems to be hinting at coming out of retirement relatively regularly at the minute. I know a lot of retired fighters seem to do this. David Hay is constantly wittering on about coming back. We've had Lennox Lewis, even like as recently as a year or two ago, saying that he'd come back to fight Klitschko for a certain amount of money. I think Carl Froch is a guy who likes the media attention. He likes being in the spotlight, and I think that's why he's kind of calling out names, because he doesn't want to, let it slip just yet. Having said that, he is in good condition, and he did retire at the top of his earning potential. And as I always said on this channel, I did find it strange how Carl Froch had gone years without getting the attention and pay he deserved, and then suddenly he retired right at the height of his attention, right at the height of his earning potential, etc. So who knows, maybe that fight could happen. It could be a Wembley Stadium fight for sure. Finally, if you watched Eddie Hearn's interview after the press conference with IFL TV, he said that he's looking at hosting one other fighter who's a very, very, very big name, global name in boxing, in a title fight on his bill. Rumours are rife on forums, on Twitter, etc. that person he was referring to is Derek Chisora. As we know, Derek Chisora has recently been let go by Frank Warren, so it would certainly make sense that Chisora's fighting on this card if he's now a free agent. Eddie Hearn's saying it's a title fight. It's not going to be the British title because Anthony Joshua's fighting Dillian White for that. I think it's unlikely to be the European titles. I had heard that Erkan Tepe was fighting Robert Helenius for that. Clearly it's not going to be a world title on the undercard of this bill, so is it Derek Chisora? I mean, could it be for the Commonwealth title? I don't know if that's vacant. I doubt it's for the English title. You kind of think Derek Chisora's too big time. Maybe there's some sort of Commonwealth title fight, who knows? But it would certainly be interesting if Derek Chisora's added to this bill. I've got to be honest, I'm really looking forward to this card. And I will pay pay-per-view for it. I will do. There's an announcement due for that in the next few days, but realistically we all know it's pay-per-view. But Joshua White, Spike versus Eubank, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. It may not be world-class action, but it's certainly entertaining action. That's my thoughts on this. Wanted to do a quick bit of coverage. Apologies that the content has been less numerous than usual this week, but I've been working away and keeping myself busy. If you like the hat, give me the thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Thanks a lot for watching.